Alright, how's everybody out there doing today? In this video, we're going to take a look at factoring polynomials with two variables by taking the greatest common factor, or the GCF. Now, in this example, of course, we're going to factor again, and we're going to factor something out of the quantity 15x squared y cubed plus 20x to the fourth y squared. Now, when we first look at this, of course, we're always going to look at the constants, so 15 and 20. The greatest common factor of both of these guys is just 5. So 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 20 4 times. Now when I take a look at my variables, what I want to look at is here I've got an x squared and over here I've got an x fourth. Since I've got an x term in each one of these, I can go ahead and factor out again the lowest degree. So if I take a look at the lowest degree, that's going to be x squared. So I'm going to factor out an x squared. Now x squared and x squared, remember we're going to subtract the exponents. So if I have 2 minus 2, that gives me 0. So I'm not going to have to write anything, an x term here in this first one. However, in the next term, I've got x to the fourth. So 4 minus 2, when I subtract the exponents, I get 2. So over in this second term, I'm going to have to write down x squared. All right. Now, in my third term, oops, forgot the plus here. In my third piece of that, I've got a y cubed. So if I take a look, I've got y cubed here and a y squared there. So my lowest degree is a 2 again. So I'm going to have a y squared that's going to pop out. And y squared goes into y cubed. So that's just going to be y to the first power. But since it's to the first power, we don't write the 1 as an exponent. And then y squared goes into y squared just once. So that is just going to give us... we're not going to have to write that because it's going to be the same thing. Y squared divided by y squared is just 1. So that first polynomial factors into 5x squared y squared times the quantity 3y plus 4x squared. Now here in example 2, it's a little bit different because we've got a 4 and a 2. So if I take out my greatest common factor of those two guys, of course it's going to be 2. Now 2 goes into 4 twice and 2 goes into 2 once, but you don't necessarily have to write the 1 right there, and most people won't. You won't see it written that way. So that's going to be that term. Now, factor it out. Now, my next term, my x squared, I've got an x cubed here and an x to the 6th right here. So I've got x cubed and x to the 6th. My lowest degree is 3. So I'm going to factor out an x cubed. Now, x cubed goes into x cubed once, so I'm not going to have to write any x terms here, the first one. But x cubed going into x to the 6th power, remember, we're just going to subtract the exponents. So 6 minus 3 gives me 3. So I'm going to have x cubed here in this term. Now, when I take a look at the y, so my last term here, or my last variable, I've got y to the 5th, but I don't have any y's over here in my second term. Over here there's no y, so I can't factor out a y. So just be careful with that. So we're going to have y to the 5th still is going to be on the inside of my expression here. So when I factor this one, I'm just going to have 2x cubed times the quantity 2y to the 5th minus x cubed. All right, and that's it for that one. That's all you can do for it. Now, of course, sometimes they get a little bit longer. So if you think you got it, go ahead and try this one on your own. Hit pause, and then come back and see if you got this correct. All right, so if we go and take a look at the number 6 to minus 12 and negative 40, my GCF of all three of those terms is just 2. So I'm going to factor out a 2. Now, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into minus 12 minus 6 times. And 2 goes into negative 40 negative 20 times. All right, next I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the variable r. So I've got r squared here, I've got r to the 8th, and r12. So since there's an r in each of those three terms, I'm going to look at the lowest degree, which in this case is r squared, and I'm going to factor out an r squared. Now r squared goes in r squared just once, so I'm not going to have to write any r terms by my 3, but if I look at r squared and r to the 8th, remember, you're just going to subtract, so 8 minus 2 gives me 6, so I'm going to have r to the 6th power here for my second term. And then last term, r to the 12th, so if I do 12 minus 2, that's going to give me 10, so I'm going to have r to the 10th power here for my third term. Now I've got one other variable to check out, and that is s. So let's see, we've got s to the 4th, s cubed, and s10. So since I do have an s in each one of these, again, I'm going to look at my smallest variable, which in this case is 3, or my smallest exponent. So I'm going to factor out an s to the 3rd power. Now, s to the 3rd power and s to the 4th, again, when you subtract 4 minus 3, you just get 1. So I'm just going to have s to the 1st power, but we're math people, we don't write 1 as an exponent. Now, in my second term, minus 6x to the 6th, if I look here, both of my s to the third power and s to the third power, both of those are the same, because remember, if you subtract them, the exponents, 3 minus 3, you get 0, and s to the 0 power is just 1, so I'm not going to have to write any terms there for that middle one. And then my final term, s to the 10th, so if I do 10 as that exponent minus 3, 10 minus 3 of course is 7, so I'm going to have s to the 7th as my very last term. So this one factors into 2r squared s cubed times the quantity 3s minus 6r to the 6th power minus 20 r to the 10th s to the 7th. Alright, that's it for this video. Hopefully by now you guys know how to factor polynomials involving 2 variables, not just 1. Alright, thanks for watching and have a great day. Peace out.